Alright, boom. First haircut. Alright, so this is my first haircut that I'm putting on YouTube. So what I did there was I took it all down with the 1.5. Everything has to be taken down to the 1.5 all the way to the top, so I missed that part. Now after you've done that with the 1.5, you get the balding clipper and you start creating your line. So you create your line all the way around, making sure that it's all nice and clean. So after that, then the 0.5, which is no guards, you pull it all the way back so it's open. So when you pull it all the way back, it's called open. And now you're going up. Some people say 1/2 inch. I don't like to do 1/2 inch. I like to do 1 inch or more, because that is where the fade is. That's the zero fade. So you create as much space as you can, and every time you flick. So that there is the 0.5 guard. That's a half guard. You put it halfway in between. So between open and between close, you put it halfway and you start flicking up. So the whole time, some people say not to flick. I'm always flicking because it's always creating that fade. If you go up and you're not flicking, right, you're not doing that C cup, it's going to create a really hard line there. So now I started the zero fade. So basically I did my guards 1.5 all the way up, and then I did that 0.5 with the open zero, and that's when you start creating that fade. You get the half guard, put it in between, take it up, and then after that you start doing your zero fade. Now at this point I start to use the one, right, the one guard, which is the half guard pulled all the way back. So I start to use that and I start to fade out that top part just before the hair starts to get heavy. So at that point there, that's when I start using the scissors. So right now we're just fading it in using the half guard. That again is the 1.5. So just taking that all the way up, that heavy part just there. I'm just trying to get that line out. That's the whole goal, is just trying to get the lines out. So you have to make sure that when you're trying to get these lines out, you're just trying to attack that line. You don't want to create another line. So there you can see. So you see I've created that fade already. It's already faded. Now all I have to do is take out that line, which is the zero. That zero right there. So using the half guard. There you go. That's why it's important that when you're doing no guard and you're pulling it the whole way back, you have it all the way open. It's important that you create enough space for yourself so you're not fading it twice. You don't want to be fading something twice. So this is something that I learned from Perfect at the Perfect Barbershop. He's like a master at this. So he'll always fade everything first, and then after just takes that zero out. And I believe that's the fastest way to fade. If you're using this method, you can cut your fades down to you can do a full skin fade in 20 minutes. So you just have to watch out for that part there that I'm trying to fade is that area of the head where it goes in. So that's difficult. You always have to watch out for that. You always have to watch out for that, because if you go in too much, it's going to create another line. So we're just wetting the hair. So I like to use the scissors on this part because I always like to keep, you can use clippers, but I always want to keep my scissor skills fresh. So I always try to use scissors here. So that heavy part, I'm always using scissors. You can use clippers, but then when the time comes for you to do a scissor cut, you're not going to be fresh with your scissors. That's why I don't even do clipper over comb. I don't even do that, because I know if I do that, I'm just going to get used to that and I'm just going to choose that over scissors. So I'm always using scissors just so that it always stays fresh. Just always fresh, because you don't want to stop using scissors, and then when you get scissor cuts, you're not you don't have enough experience in it. That's why I'm always trying to use scissors whenever I can. So just taking out that weight. I was just taking out the top. So what I always do is I don't cut a straight line. I always cut just little by little so that it's kind of texturized. You want the hair to be texturized. You don't want it to just be a straight line going across. Separating the hair. Always make sure you separate it well. And coming down on the side, creating that shape that you want. Got to make sure to follow those guidelines. And always after you've done it, you just brush it or comb it to the style that you want it to. And you have to just check that there's not hair, that there's not overlapping hair, because you don't want that. A lot of barbers will only do it to one side as well, but you have to do it to both sides. That's just some scissor tricks. Just showing you what I can do. Just a bit of scissor tricks. I'll do a video on that soon. Now we're just creating that line. Some people do it only when it's dry, but I've actually found it a lot easier to do it when it's wet, because the line is a lot clearer. It's a lot clearer. So when the hair is wet, you put it to one side, put it to the other side, and then you can just create that line a lot easier. So for me with this here, right, I've seen a lot of barbers, they do it really slow and they hold the blow dryer on there. That burns your client's skin and that hurts so much if it's been done to you. So what I do is I always do it really quick. So it's not sitting there burning their skin and burning their hair. You don't want to destroy your client's hair. You want to just roll it, boom, roll, boom, roll, boom. And it creates that shape. So now we're just doing the lineup. This one's just a simple lineup. I'm that barber that doesn't go too far back. I know guys that have been getting their hairline done for 5 years, and the truth that you can't escape from is that it's always going to go further back. Always. Because if you're getting it done every 2 weeks, it's just always going to go back, because to create the hairline you have to go in. So if you're getting it done a lot, it's going to go further and further back. And I've seen guys that their hairline is so far back now, and they're not giving it a break. They're not letting it grow out and start again. And some guys, it doesn't even grow back. Some guys, it doesn't even grow back. So just creating that there. So if you notice on the other side, there's a little bit more hair there. So because this is my first video, I was trying to get through the haircut and just show as much as I could. I didn't notice it was a bit longer there. So after I do this, you're gonna see I'm just gonna fade that through. And that's something people you always have to check for. If you're a barber, you always have to check for it. So just fading that through, making it a bit shorter, making it equal to the other side. There we go. And that's the haircut. That's the cut. I was gonna put the Instagram finish on it, but I just thought I'd leave it like that. So now we're just coming through with the foils. This is the wall. Now there's a big like discussion or a big debate with which one is better. And the truth is that they're both different. The Andis creates another line. That's what I found, because it does get in really close, but it also creates another line. The wow, right? The wow is very smooth. It doesn't stick to the skin and it doesn't create another line. So I've got a friend, Salim the barber. If you watch this, shout out to Salim the barber. He's awesome. So what he does is he's got the Andis and the wow. So because the Andis shaves it shaves it so much sharper, he'll use the Andis and then he'll also use the wow to fade that through. which is crazy. So that's actually something that I want to do as well, because I know exactly what he's talking about. I've used both of them, and if I have the Anderson a while, boom, it's just perfect. And Salim's cuts are like, so here you can see there's a little bit heavier hair there. So after this, it's not on video, but after this I just went through it a little bit. And these are things you always have to check for when you're cutting, even when you're finishing up. You're just looking at the hair, just watching, just looking, putting it in, like turn the chair around. I always turn the chair around to the one light, so it doesn't matter what side of the head I'm cutting, I'm always doing it to that one angle where the light is. So that's the cut there. I'll see if I can put the Instagram finish on it so you can see the whole haircut. Alright, it's the controversial barber.